aka the Logistics Monk. We've had amazing guests for the past couple of weeks, even a couple months now. We've been doing this little thing together on this ride. And for me, it's been really good for me to explore my identity itself. I didn't meant for this to happen exactly what the way it's actually happened right now. Like the first episode we had with Vinay from the Cut Last magazine, and he was kind of talking about indentureship and all those kind of fun things with his magazine. And then the conversation started to lean towards my background, being Trinidadian from my parents. And I always kind of like to say, and even our amazing guest today, which you'll be meeting in a couple minutes, would be like, you know, I can't say that I'm Trinidadian. Like I'm Canadian. I was born in Canada. And one of her pet peeves that she actually shared with me that I learned was that people who identify or say that, hey, I'm Trinidadian or I'm Jamaican or I'm Chinese or something like that, but they're not born in the country. They're not immersed into the culture like our parents or even our grandparents were like. So today we get to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart from the amazing Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago. We get to talk about Carnival. Everybody knows about Carnival. In Toronto here, we have a big, I would say, a diverse population, and we have Caravana. But everything you hear about Caravana is that this is not even close to what happens in Trinidad. One of the amazing things about connecting with different people from various different backgrounds is understanding their point of view. So today, like I've always said, we don't have guests on this show. I might call them a guest, but for me, when I do the pre-interview and I get to know them, they're friends to me. So with that being said, I want to introduce you to one of my good friends, the CEO of Come to the Islands, Fayola King-Lawrence to the Logistics Monk Show. Good
Woo!
afternoon.
Yay! Good
Did I do
afternoon,
good?
Ryan.
Was that okay,
I
or was
mean,
that
I thought that was good. I felt like we touched on a little bit of everything, and we can see where it goes from there.
perfect? I love it. Well, I first do have to commend you. I love that beautiful and vibrant background. Can you tell me
Thank,
what is it? What is the what's going on back there?
thank you so much. I actually tried to bring my little carnival vibe to the podcast today. This is actually my feathered backpack from Carnival this year. So our carnival was in February this year, and I got one of the costumes with one of the huge backpacks. Because of the kind of limitation of my screen, you can't see all of the feathers, but it's, as you can see, vibrant colors, bright, very beautiful. And right on the outsides of what y'all can see here probably is where there's some amazingly beautiful colored ostrich plumes. Actually, I have one here that I that came apart during
Ooh,
transferring of it, and I didn't want to let it go, so I kept it here on my desk, and I'm intending to tin it into a quill.
ooh, I love that. I
So
love that.
imagine this, we got it in this color, it has it in red and a couple in that lovely green that you can see behind you there.
I love that. I love that so much. It's so vibrant, and I like to. I always tell people, Viola, that my background. I take very good pride in the background that I have made here, and you know what? I would say this the first time for on this show that my amazing guest has a better background than I do. So kudos to you. I love it. I love the shirt, everything like that. So let's talk about Come to the Islands. What is Come to the Islands? How did you come up with it? And let's go from there.
So come to the Carnival. Ooh, Come to the Islands is a premium carnival concierge company. So what we do is we bring carnival to those who don't know about it. So it's either you don't know about carnival or you've heard about it and you're not quite sure how to get there. Honestly, for all the strides that we've taken in our now very connected regime, there are a lot of parts of carnival that are difficult to organize if you don't have someone on the ground in the area willing to put in the work to get it done for you. And so we want to share the amazing vibrancy and the feeling of freedom and true expression of self that you get on the road for carnival. And so we have made sure that coming to carnival is as easy as having a conversation with me, clicking, and then you're ready to go.
I love that, and I can attest to that so much. So, for the audience watching, it's always a task when you hear about these amazing events, but you don't know where to start. You can do a Google search, but there's not really too much resources. So, Fiola's taking that upon herself, noticing that when she's participating in Carnival, like like we call them foreigners or tourists or different like that, like they would have like trouble, and to give that all inclusive experience is amazing. So, Let's get right into it, Philo. What is Carnival? What is it meant for you? When did you? I want to know everything about you. So when did you start playing Mass? How did Mass find you? Is it something that you found in your family? I want the audience to understand what is Carnival because you and I we're both from obviously you're from Trinidad and my parents are as well. But I want an audience who might not even know what Carnival is or even know what Trinidad and Tobago is to understand, so we can paint that vibrant picture for them.
So I think I will start with some basic overviews and then I'll go into my kind of experience. So basically, historically, Carnival is a parade that started from Cran Brulee. So as you probably all know, we are in the Caribbean, which means at some point we had both enslaved peoples and indentured laborers, as was talked about in your other podcast episode. And what happened was our colonizers used to have masquerade balls to celebrate right before Lent called Carnival. So basically, it was a time that they could get out all of those urges, all of their quote unquote vices that they needed to express because they wouldn't be able to do it for the month of Lent. And during that time, usually is when the sugarcane had to be harvested. So a lot of the times then was the, I don't know if we could call it free, but I'll call it free in quotation marks, freest time that the enslaved peoples got to themselves. So they were able to harvest the cane. You then had to burn the cane, which is what crème brûlée comes from. The word crème brûlée, it's from the original French. And then they used to be able to get some time where they would put on their own kind of masquerades, sort of things, as close as they could get with the materials that they had and the time that they had available to themselves. Sometimes it was like a mockery or caricature of what the colonizers were doing, and sometimes it was just a way to create things and enjoy themselves as best as they could. So that spirit of being able to express yourself in a place where you are consistently oppressed, that feeling of I am going to release, I have so much hurt, so much things on my spirit that I need to get out in whatever way I can. I'm going to make music with whatever I have, I'm going to make costumes with whatever I have. That is where we get Carnival from. And for a lot of people, I think that the freedom that they feel is still coming from that, which is the original spirit of Carnival, getting to be yourself in a world where they don't want you to be. So that has come all the way from there through many iterations of people being able to take what they have around them and make the place beautiful and make designs of what they want to express in the world. And we have reached what you see behind me today. So, yes, I am a carnival baby. My mom was a masquerader, was a avid fete goer, I think, as far back as I could remember. Basically, when it's carnival time, don't bother her. She's doing her carnival thing. She doesn't want to hear about it. Go ask your dad. Like that's where we're at. So I think the first mass experience that I truly remember, I was playing kiddies mass, but I was like a teen, so it was like 14, 15, I think. And it was the first time that I crossed the Savannah stage, which, for those who don't know, it's the large stage in Queen's Park, Savannah, in Trinidad that they build. It's between two large, um, like bleacher systems where people can come and watch stands. And crossing the Savannah stage with that 40-foot truck playing music, even at 15 years old, it was something that like awakened something in me. Like I was like, oh my God, this, this is the feeling right here. This is the feeling that I want to have all of the time. The way that the lights were bouncing off of the costumes, the way that you could see the music getting people genuinely excited, like taking them away from whatever was happening. It was the most amazing expression of joy I think I had ever seen in my entire life. And so I was like, well, why isn't everybody doing this? Everybody should be doing this. This is amazing. And then it was even more ridiculous when I actually did adult mass for the first time. And I said, no, well, I wonder why isn't everybody doing this? Everybody should be doing this. And then I realized that it's probably because they didn't know how to get here, they didn't know how to get their costumes, they didn't know. And I said, well, I know how to do that. And I have all of the connections that I need to make sure that they can do it effectively as well. And so I literally piloted the company for the first time when I was 17 years old. And then I just kept doing iterations of it. I had to stop when I went to university because obviously I wanted to finish university. But the year that I graduated, my final year, was my pilot year for my first relaunch of the company. Yeah.
Oh, that's so. First and foremost, I want to commend you. Like, you really painted a picture. I know everyone who's kind of watching right now. They're like, okay, how can I get to Carnival, and how can I hit up Fayola with these amazing things? And it's nice when we have that history, right? Because history is so rich. We can't change our past, but we can make our past even to better. Like you said, you painted that picture of like the slaves and indentureship, but then you related it back to what's behind you. You know how colorful
Yeah.
and bright, vibrant it definitely is. Carnival, especially in Trinidad. Can you tell people how long is it for? Is it like a week long thing? Is it a 2 week thing? What is the timeline, and when is it usually held?
So I tell people all the time that Carnival for me never stops because it has to go all the year round. But the actual 2 days of parading, which is Monday and Tuesday, which in we follow the Catholic calendar, so it's the same Monday and Tuesday before Ash Wednesday. We still do that every year, so you can always pick up that calendar and you will know when Carnival Monday and Tuesday is. Um, so those 2 days are the parade days. Monday morning is Juve, where you do from dawn to usually around midday in what they call mud mass. Everybody calm down. It is not regular mud. It is treated spa mud that they give you on the road. But some bands have mud, some bands have paint, some bands have oil, which was the origination of it. And some bands even now do things like chocolate. There's been so much ingenuity in how Juve is portrayed, and that is the, I think, original thing of like covering yourself so that you can free yourself. So sometimes a lot of it comes with masks and um, clothes that to help disguise you. So because everybody knows that if you're doing something and you want to wild out yourself and you know that nobody knows it's going to be you, the way that you behave when you know that nobody knows it's going to be you, as opposed to the way when you think everybody's watching you, is very different. So that is basically what Juve is based off of. And then this what you see behind me here, which is what I think most people think of when they think Carnival, is what we call Pretty Mass. And that will happen after Juve, sometimes during Juve, depending on how late your Juve band goes on Monday, until sunset on Monday. And then Tuesday morning, we have bands that come out as early as 6 a.m. until a little bit past sunset on Tuesday as well. So those are the two actual parade days. But the carnival season has several iterations. So like right now, we're in June as this is being filmed. July is the beginning of what we call band launch season. So July, August is when all of the bands, which are the institutions that create all these lovely costumes and provide you with all of your amenities on the road, they start launching their designs. So they tell you what your theme is for the year, and then they have their like party fashion show where you can see all the different designs for you to choose which one you want to be on the road. Then we take a break, you get a little Christmas vibe going on. Everybody loves Christmas here as well. The food, the drinks, and then literally the day after Boxing Day is back to Carnival because Fete starts as early as December 27th. And if you don't know what a fete is just like a carnival party. Again, it comes from the original French. And we have a time. There are all sorts of ones. Fetes on boats, fetes in the day with lunch, fetes in the morning with breakfast, fete where you get all your food, you get all your drinks, fete where they spray water on you. We got a lot of different types. We know how to party over here. So it's great. And that goes all the way up until Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday. Look at that, and I like I was mentioning in the intro is that I'm in Toronto, so we have Caravana here, which is a little small, a lot smaller than what's in Trinidad. But what in my experiences of playing mass in Toronto, I really love the inclusiveness in terms of that everybody's welcome. Nobody really
Yeah.
cares. Like, I think nowadays we get a lot of like people feel like we're judging us if we do something. As you're kind of saying, you get to put on a mask if you want to do whatever you want to do. And you have that central theme of this was the time when slaves were able to kind of free themselves and kind of, like you said, in quotation marks. But can you talk a little bit about the inclusion of it, right? Because like you see people from all walks and races. This is the one time that everybody is involved, and truly nobody cares in terms of like what you're doing or anything like that. You're completely free to be yourself. Do you agree with something like that, or what are your thoughts
I
on?
think that is possibly what the biggest draw of it is. And that's what I always tell people. For me, the the connection that people have to Carnival, the reason that they always come back is because it's possibly for most people, like you would say in Canada, or especially in like places like corporate America and stuff, having an environment where you can express facets of yourself that you've never gotten to know very well, or that you can't express around your friends or your family, and definitely not in your workplace because they're going to judge you. Trinidad is the part where they can coalesce all of those parts of themselves and express the whole thing, because everybody knows what the point of the celebration is, right? Like if we go back to the history, it's brewed, it's made in being able to express yourself to the fullest, and therefore nobody has time to judge anybody else, because we don't care. Like once you expressing yourself in a way that is not harmful to anybody around you, nobody's bothering you. And they're too busy trying to make sure they're expressing themselves to the fullest. Like, I'm jumping, I'm having myself a time. I don't have time to try and figure out what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And so it's also a place where I think because of the so many cultures that came to create the Caribbean. I mean, people came from literally all over the world to create what the Caribbean culture is now, that we're accustomed to seeing people of all shades, people of all sizes, people of all shapes. And I think also a lot of places that people come from to Carnival, they're not accustomed to that being celebrated so openly altogether, where it literally doesn't matter what you look like to anyone there. And I think that for a lot of people, unfortunately, that's a new kind of environment for them to be in. And so they feel it. And once you get a taste, once you get the first taste of that freedom, that being able to just be who you are with nobody feeling a type of way, they come back. Like my first set of clients ever, that client has been here every year since that piloting year, every year without fail.
That is crazy. And actually, that was a perfect segue because I wanted to talk about that a little bit. The one thing that you just said, people are free and they get to be themselves. And like you said, you don't have time to judge other people because you're worried about your own self, right? And I want
Right.
to talk about the business aspect of it because, like you mentioned earlier on, you started this when you were 17. That's kind of like the pilot year, and then took a couple years, and
Well,
then
the
kind of
second
kind of
pilot, yeah.
the second. My apologies. The second pilot year for somebody to start a concierge service, like catering to somebody who's from a different background or from a different part of the world. Have you traveled around the world yourself to kind of see different cultures and see different things for yourself so that you can kind of put yourself in a mindset of, okay, what I can give them the Trinidad experience here,
Right.
but I need to put myself in their shoes of like their I want to say like their hesitancy
Yeah.
to kind of want to go all in.
Well, yes. So I have been that traveler that is somewhere new, and you might not necessarily know anyone, and you want to be able to immerse yourself the kind of way. So I was in the States for 4 years. I went to my university in the States. And during that time, I also studied abroad in Korea, South Korea. I've been to Thailand. I've toured a couple of places in Europe. I visited a lot of the Caribbean islands as well, because my parents felt as though before we went to the States, actually, they wanted to get us indoctrinated into our own people. So we visited a lot of the Caribbean islands for like family vacations before I ever saw any of the other continents. But I don't think I've seen enough places. Like I still have a lot of places that I want to go, a lot of things that I want to do. I feel like the the things that you remember most in life are the experiences you have. And a lot of the times the experiences that get you to meet different parts of yourselves are outside of where you are. Because if where you are could have given you that experience while you were there for 30 odd years or whatever, then you would have probably had it by now. So getting to experience people that think differently from you, that are in different environments than you, that have different struggles, but also different blessings from you, allows you to widen your perspective in a way that can only be beneficial. So I've been that person who's like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. How do I find somebody who I'm gonna trust to take me around here? Um, what is it? I'm a black young woman. Is it safe for me to be in this country? You know, there's a lot of things that I have to process, and I think of those things when I'm thinking of my clients. I think, okay, if I was a young woman coming to this island for the first time, what would be my concerns? How do we combat those things? Which is why since 95, I want to say, percent of our clients are actually women. One of our major things is that our transport is private. So once we have your itinerary scheduled, you will have the same driver with the same vehicle for the entirety of your stay. And before you even land, you have a picture of that driver, you have a picture of the car, you have a picture of the license plate, so that you know who you're going to be interacting with. Because then you have kind of a lifeline, like you said, when you chat before they're your friends before we get on the pod, like you feel like you have somebody that you know who's going to be there taking care of you, so you don't have to worry about it. And of course, before you land, everything is taken care of. You've already gotten your transport schedule, your itinerary, your packing list. We've already been through why you chose your band, why you wanted to be there, what kind of costumes you like, what kind you don't, what kind of people you want to be around the most. Because you would be surprised how many people I get being like, I understand that this is such a beautiful experience. I want to make sure I'm in a place where the locals are. Like,
Mhm.
don't put me in
Yeah.
a band with all the other foreigners. I don't want to be with
Yeah.
them. I want to be where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you said that because like my wife and I we went to St. Lucia a couple years ago and they have like a Friday night like party every night, but you can tell that it's catered for
Yeah, the
tourists.
Blocko.
Yeah, the Blocko, but it's catered for tourists. They don't really take you into. So we told the driver, knowing that once the Trinidad twang started coming out a little bit, we told him take us to the real place, take us to the real Blocko, and that'll be
Yeah.
from there. But I want to talk about the business because you did talk about having that itinerary, that packing list, all those things. So what are the packages that you offer? And you mentioned something about mass bands, and everybody thought about that. You guys don't select the mass bands. You leave that all up to the client. Can you just walk us through what you provide and walk us through what that whole process looks like?
Okay, of course. So, firstly, we have two sets of major ways that we work with clients. So, the first, which was our original offering, is our custom or bespoke packages. So, what we do is I basically act as the carnival matchmaker, if you will, for you and your group. So, after we have our first consultation or conversation, I base things off of like what kind of personality you have. So, does that mean you're a person who like smaller, more intimate events? Are you a person who likes bigger events? Is it that you would like to get a little taste of all of the different types of events that we spoke about earlier? Or are you going for more of that luxury bougie vibe and you just want to be an all inclusive where you could just walk in, put out your hand, and everything you want is before you? You know, you coming with a small group? Is it just you and your wife? Is it a couple? Is it a friends trip? You know what I mean? And what age range are you in? Because that also depends what kind of events you would want to be at and who you would want to be around. And then, like I said, there's some people who want to be where the locals are. And then there's some people who want a mixture. They want to say, okay, let me get a place where I know they'll have enough tourists that I'll probably bounce up somebody, but there are enough locals that the local vibe is still there in the atmosphere. And so we go through that, all of those things in the custom meetings, and then we provide you with a draft package. So based on what we've learned about you, this is what we think will best suit you for you to have your best carnival experience. Because not everybody wants to have the same thing, you know? And then, of course, you might want to see Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe you want to go to the beach. Maybe you've heard that we have one of the widest arrays of flora and fauna on this side of the world. Maybe you want to go and see that. Maybe you want to hike. Maybe you want to see a waterfall. So we consider all of those things in our custom packages, build a package for you, and then you get to see it, tell us, yeah, we love this, or we want to add some more of these things, or after you sent us that link and we saw that video, we definitely want to go here. And so then we have to add that on for you, take out some things, of course. And then we have our pre-designed packages, which is our first launch actually this year for 2024, where I've taken what I think is a little bit of everything that if you're a first timer who just wants to dip in their toe, so you just want to be like, okay, let me see what everything is about, let me see what is going on here, that I've created a package that I think is perfect for the first timer of any age. You get to see what is going on, you get a little taste of everything. And so you can say, okay, great. Well, we obviously know you're coming back, but now you know when you come back, what do you want to do? Do you want to have that same experience again? Maybe you loved this section and you want to add a little bit more of that, or take a little bit more of that. And that's how it goes. And of course, that includes accommodation, transportation, events, costumes. And for us, it also includes liquor because let's be real, everybody wants to come to the Caribbean, bask in the hot sun, and sip a cold drink. That's what they're here for. We understand. We got you. And then we also have this year as well our Tobago retreat. So after Carnival, after you've had all of that amazing experience of self-expression, maybe you learned something about yourself. Maybe you realized something about yourself while doing that. Or maybe you just want to relax because you've been pumping whole time you were here and you didn't get a time to sit down. So you go to Tobago, we have a wonderful 5-star villa set out. Your meals are taken care of by a chef. We have yoga, we have sound healing, beach, trip to a waterfall, and all of those things are optional. If you just want to lay by the pool all day in the villa because that's what you came to do, then you can do that. If you want to come and go around Tobago and see those various things and that's what you want to do, then you can do that. But it's an amazing all-inclusive experience for under 1,000 US. 3 days, 2 nights, even your ferry from Trinidad to Tobago is included back and forth. It's wonderful. And basically, our custom package requires the consultation, draft package, and then you register with us and we take care of everything for you. If you're doing a pre-designed package, then all you have to do is fill out your form and register, and you're done.
Just think about that, like I'm in shock. So I got two questions for you. That from everything that you're kind of saying. If somebody's watching and they're watching for the first time, they want to be a part of this amazing experience. So I got two questions for you. So the first one's going to be, how far in advance, like when do you recommend people to start reaching out to you, other than today, like to kind of get started for everything, because we all know there's a backlog. And two, is there has been any thoughts to yourself of maybe doing an all-inclusive like year round, maybe somebody has a summer vacation or something like that and they want to experience the island, because everything you're telling me, like, Carnival is everything, that's why you have to come to the islands. But I feel like everything you're saying right now, I'm like, wow, there's such an opportunity for you to do this year round, bring people, whether it be certain holidays, or, summer holidays for some people, or if they want to
Right.
come for Christmas and things like that. So just sorry, I know it's a bit loaded, but I would love to get your thoughts on both.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was listening so hard to the second question that I forgot the first question.
Yeah, when should people contact you if they want to go to
Right.
Carnival?
Okay, got it. Um, if you want to make sure and get everything you want in the way that you want it, I suggest you contact us in March. Like literally, as soon as Carnival is ended, is when you should reach out to us. Because as y'all could imagine, Trinidad is a fairly small island and there are a lot of people that are trying to come. So one of the resources that go first all of the time is accommodation. And so if of course we have our connections with our accommodations, so we got you covered. But there's certain levels of accommodation that if you want, even though we are amazing carnival magicians, I can't make it out of thin air. So if there's no room, I can't I can't get the room for you. So certain places sell out within the same week that Carnival was this year for next year. That's how dread it is. So if you know you're one of those people who you wanna pinky it up and you're only going to stay in the Hyatt and the Marriott and the top floor of the Hilton, baby, then you need to be contacting me Ash Wednesday. Like your email needs to be in there on Ash Wednesday so that we can make sure and get that sorted out for you. But if you think you're a little bit more relaxed, then we can do March to the end of March. That is genuinely when I would say. Because, like I said, Carnival is all year round. Things are happening in different fragments all throughout the year. And for us to make sure that we have everything, all the information that we need from you to be able to work consistently on your behalf, it's way better if you come earlier.
So that's amazing. And so to set up with
Second
there,
question.
yes, I'd love to hear your thoughts on maybe doing this year round.
So the reason I don't do this year round is because the idea of Come to the Islands was that we were the premium carnival concierge for every Trinidad inspired carnival in the world. So the only reason that we're only offering carnival in Trinidad right now is because of COVID. Like, if I'm honest with you, we had two or three other carnivals that we were in the works for that just kind of had to go on hold because I personally do not offer anybody anything that I can't vouch for myself. So all of my trips that I had planned to go on, make sure that everybody who I was working with, their hotel looks like they say it looks, and the vibes is what they say it is. I had to cancel obviously because I couldn't go anywhere. So a lot of those are on hold, but that's why we don't do trips year round, just because we one of my main things is to make sure that everybody gets that personal touch that they deserve to get that type of experience that they want to get. And I would hate to be that we're trying to organize people's summer packages and then a carnival client kind of slips through the cracks because that's what we want you all to do. And so I rather have quality over quantity.
I love that. That is a commitment to customer service because that's one of the best things that you can do, and you give that
Yeah.
experience to them. Do they get to meet you while they're? Do they go get to jam you up in a fete?
So
Live and what's well, or is this all behind the scenes?
so sometimes, a lot of the times because they have met me during our consultations and so on, they see me. And so I have clients coming like, oh my God, you're Fayola. I'm like, hey, what's up? Like I played, a couple of my clients played in the same band with me, not this year, for 2020. And it was hilarious because she literally ran up to me in the road, like right before we were going across the stage. And I was like, oh my God, look at you. And I was like, hey, what's up? And we took a couple of pictures. But usually, because of how structured their itineraries are, because they've chosen where they want to be, when they want to be there, unless I'm going to be that place as well, they don't really get to see me because I've also tried to set it up like I love Carnival. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I want to share it. So I never want to be that it gets to the point where it's so business for me that I can't be a masquerader anymore, that I can't enjoy it the way that I want to enjoy it, and I can't be the person in the fed jamming with you. Like I want to be able to do that also. So I make sure that your itinerary and stuff is planned so well that if you never see me, if our team never contacts you from the moment that you reach it, if we all get hit by a bus, your carnival experience is still going to be executed exactly as you expect it to be, and there will be no problems. So, unfortunately, unless they just see me, they don't usually get to jam about with me.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. That's awesome to know. But I love this show for having genuine conversations with people, and I'm enjoying this conversation so far. And anybody who kind of knows, they read the news, or my mom watches Ian Allen Crime Watch every single day. It's so funny. Funny story for you. She's spending the week by us, and the theme song came out for Ian Allen, and her dog staying with her as well, literally perked up her head and start watching. So that means that they watch it every single day at home together. But
Together.
yeah, together. So you hear about all these things that are happening. Everyone kind of the first question is like, is Trinidad safe? Um, I would just love to. I'll leave with that question because I feel like you probably get that a lot,
I
especially when
do.
you're talking to brand new clients who have never experienced it for the very first time and they're just looking at mainstream media or they're seeing everything that's going on. So yeah, let's have that conversation. Is Trinidad
So,
safe?
I will say, like, as a person who travels, and to anyone who travels, every country has some level of crime. Like, there are very few countries in the world where you could say there is no criminal element. And because of that, I know, just because of where Trinidad is, and of course, you will have somebody with you, where to go and where not to go. And once you stay to the areas, of course, like they tell you anyway when you're traveling, If you're going to go about any night, go in a group. I'm not gonna come to Canada and walk down the road by myself at night. It's not because of I don't think Canada is safe, but it's just self-awareness and regular safety. Trinidad, in terms of non being unsafe, I think it's really just kind of a, I don't want to say a myth because of course there is crime and there is are areas where crime will be more prevalent than other areas, but I don't think it's anywhere vastly above most of the other countries that our clients come from where they should be worried. Like, fam, if you're from New York, why are you bothered? Like you are 100% more likely to get mugged in your own city than you are if you come here. Like 100%. I can't really speak for Canada because I don't know that well, but even the same thing to my Londoners. Like you are more likely to engage with a criminal element in London than you are in Trinidad and Tobago during Carnival, especially during Carnival, because it has been statistically proven that our crime rate goes down by 95%. 95% for Carnival every year, for the entire month before the Carnival parade. Every year. Man don't got time. Like nobody's trying to crime you. I want a fed. The criminal wants a fed. Everybody wants a fed. They're not stopping their fetting to come and try and rob you. Like that's just not a thing.
I love that
So
you said that,
you should
it's
be
so
okay.
true though. You're there to party, right? And people like that's why I want to have the conversation with you because people go to Mexico, millions of people go to Mexico. Like my family's in Mexico right now, but then you see the news, everything's kind of going down and they have their hotel strip and everything is safe there. It's not going to stop that. And like you're saying, crime
And
is
we
down
all know that
95%.
there are areas in Mexico that are fully cartels. And there are areas in Mexico where people be human trafficked. But I don't hear none of y'all talking about that for spring break in Cancun. I don't hear anybody, oh no, we shouldn't go to Cancun. Mexico is unsafe. I don't hear nobody talking about that when they talk about their all inclusive hotels. So I'm just saying.
Well, it's so important to have that conversation because, you know, you live there, you know what it's like, and it's for you to kind of paint that picture for everyone who's a foreigner because everyone's going to be listening to this, whether they be in Trinidad or they be around the world. There is always that follow up question. Hey, I'm going to Trinidad. Even if I was to go to Trinidad, people would be like, "Be safe, na boy." Just make sure. Yeah, but it's just common sense, and you said that self awareness is the most important thing. Like for me,
Yes,
I know as a kid, like my parents, like even and this was when before it wasn't so bad, right? But when my parents used to take us to Trinidad, my parents wouldn't be flashing out their gold like they would here or anything like that. You just gotta be self-aware of everything that's kind of going on, but understand that you're not looking for trouble too. Trouble will find you if you're going for it. So I think when it comes to like Trinidad, like you're mentioning, it's that amazing time for Carnival. Everyone wants to enjoy themselves. Like no one is worried. Like yes, you'll have some situations that happen. That's life.
of course.
Like I'll
Somebody
be
might lose their phone, and we all know if somebody finds your iPhone 14 on the ground, the likelihood of you getting it back is low. Although I have seen it happen. I have seen people return iPhones and stuff to the mass DJs, and then they get that stuff right back. But I mean, if you drop your phone and you leave it somewhere,
It's on you. It's
but
completely.
yeah, but it's the thing about just being a safe traveler in general. Once you're a safe traveler in general, you'll be okay. And you have us on the ground here. We're not gonna send you anywhere that we would think would be unsafe for you.
And that's what people need to understand. And even if that conversation, and I love your openness and willingness to have this conversation with me because some people might deflect that conversation or like no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But no, you've given pure facts here, so you're preparing
Yeah,
and you're setting up your amazing clients for success. They're not gonna, no one's gonna
exactly.
come back and say like Fayola told me this and I wasn't this. And I think that's what integrity with you and your whole entire team. And I love that you said, like if my team and I weren't available, everything would run as according to plan. So I think,
Yeah,
you take that safety factor. And like you said, you are a traveler yourself. So when you've been to Korea, you've been to the States or been to the islands because your parents want to immerse you in your culture, you knew what it understands and what it makes from that. So I think it's really important that you mentioned that. I really commend you and your team for doing that because that's
thank
something
you.
that's really really, really important from you. One
I
question
mean,
I
we've had
had.
a solo traveler once who she was actually so afraid that we also offer private security. That is one of our services that we offer. So she was here by herself, and we actually she had her own security for the first day of mass for the parade. But then she met up with some of our clients and she canceled the security for the second day. Like she didn't even keep on the security guard for the second day. She just ended up going out with a couple of other of our clients that came who were staying in the same hotel with her and had a time. She emailed us back and was like, she's so happy. Thank you so much for taking her on with the security when she knows we should have just told her don't bother. But we asked her if she was sure and she wanted to. And I understand what that would feel like. Like if you know you're going to be in a big crowd of people, a parade, or like a festival by yourself, I'm sure you want somebody looking out for you. But she came by herself and realized that she didn't need it. So, I mean, and she was from where she's from, Texas.
Ooh,
Yeah,
so
so come on, guys.
come on.
It's okay.
Well, as you're talking here, I got a question for you, Viola. How do people like? We'll get to this is not the promo part, but like, how do your clients actually find you? Is it like usually through referral base, or is it kind of like you're online, or how do people like your clients? And have you asked that question to your clients? Like, how did you guys
So
find me?
actually, my first couple of clients were actually people who went to my university with me, that came down with me for my final year for when I repiloted it. And then actually one of my friend's cousins and one of my cousins are US. She's American. So her mother is from Trinidad, her dad is from Haiti, but she's born in Chicago. And she came and for the first, I want to say 4 years or so, all of my clients were from people who knew them.
Hmm.
Like it never even occurred to me because I had meant it actually to be a side thing. It never occurred to me to market even like everybody that came in those first couple of years were people who saw them or saw their pictures or heard their story or saw my story and saw them in it and decided that they wanted to come. Um, these days we still have a lot of word of mouth referrals, but you can also see us on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, um, and of course our website. So because of how much information we have put up on our website, a lot of people go there and to get some information like what are the different bands, what are the costumes, what do you expect on the day, how should I budget, is it like a fitness thing that I should be doing. And when they end up reading our articles and our sections on that, is then how they end up contacting us.
That is so cool. I love the
But
referral
sometimes
base
the
there.
bands refer us actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know a couple of them who were like, we were trying to get our costume and we didn't know what else to do after that, and they sent us by you. And I was like, oh, wow, thanks.
I know it's that teamwork, that collaboration that we talk about so much, even like on our sales podcast, wanting to kind of help each other. Or I always kind of say this, Viola, and it's kind of a little bit irrelevant, but it's just like me as a sales rep. I might not be able to bake cakes, but I could find you the best baker in Toronto. I always kind of say that, or I might not
I
be able
mean,
to.
that is my whole thing,
Yeah,
right? I don't make any costumes. I don't I don't build any cars. I don't drive people anywhere. I am just the person who knows all of the best people and knows how to get it together for you. And that's exactly what I do. I know you and I know Carnival and I know how to make it so that you have the best one that you have. And that's it.
I love that. I love that so much. I know we're obviously too late for 2024, but maybe we'll get a logistics mug section for
Maybe.
2025. Yeah, we'll definitely look at 2025. Based on everything you kind of told us. But I think it's amazing to kind of see that there is an amazing service like this, right? Because it's a question that I personally had too when we're like looking at. I've never personally played Trinidad Carnival yet, but I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna stay with family,
Wow.
but I don't know the fets. I don't know this. I don't know that. And when you're coming back, like, you don't want to be a burden on your family, right? Like, you
Yeah.
don't want to be like, oh, they had to drive me everywhere and all this stuff. So
Oh,
to
I
understand that
forgot.
there's
That's
something
the
like that
other
for
way we get referrals. I forgot. It's people in Trinidad who was like, listen, my friend from school, my cousin and then Tanti decided to come in and now they want me to do all this. And I'm like, nah, call come to me.
you. Yeah, I got you. I completely got you. Um, Being a young entrepreneur and doing this, like you said, you started this kind of being a side hustle and it's kind of taken off onto your on your own. What have you learned as an entrepreneur yourself in terms of like having this as your business? Like, did you have any other businesses when you're growing a kid? Did your parents like own businesses? How did you really become an entrepreneur on that business side?
Well, both of my parents are entrepreneurs. Well, my dad was, my mom is. Um, they always own their own businesses. In fact, it when I thought about it recently, because I was thinking about it, um, I don't think it occurred to me. Like I knew people had to work for people because obviously my mom and dad had staff at their places, but most of the time it never occurred to me to go work for someone else, which I realized after that was kind of wild. like because at that point I wanted to be a veterinary surgeon, but it never occurred to me that I would go and work somewhere else. I always thought I would have my own practice. And I realized being exposed to that was something, it was like a subconscious little, I didn't even think about it. But if you want to say my first business ever, I think I was like, I want to say about around 7. I had, me and my dad made a mean mango chow. I'm talking lick your fingers, fantastic. And I brought it to school a day to share, and I barely got any because those people be eating all my chow. And then I was like, y'all really like my chow. How about I start charging y'all for this chow? And then I was selling chow, like selling out every day quick for like, I think a good couple of weeks. And then the school shut me down. They said I was soliciting something at my primary school, and my dad was upset. He was like, y'all are killing my child's entrepreneurial spirit. But I guess that was my first business ever. So I guess fun fact, and it was going really well. And then I did it again in my high school. I did cheesecake though, because I have a friend who's a chef, and his cheesecake apparently was great. I wouldn't know because I don't really like cheesecake. Um, which was also great because I was never eating my own product, like I'm never gonna run out because I ate it. So that also helped. But um, yeah, I think entrepreneurship was something that was embedded long before I realized it. And the thing that I learned, I think the most, is I know it's like the most annoying cliche you've ever heard, but just start really is the thing. Because if I tried to get Come to the Islands perfectly before I launched it, it would have never launched. Because the Come to the Islands that exists now is at least 10 iterations away from the original launch. And even that, I thought I had taken a while to, perfect it before I got it to where I wanted it to be before I launched the website and stuff. But you learn while it's happening. You realize, oh, you thought in theory this would have made a lot of sense, but in actuality, this is the better way to go. Or you thought that maybe you could get this easier if you do it this way, but it's actually more poignant if you just contact this person and do that instead. So I guess entrepreneurship is like the longest on the job training that you'll ever get.
Yeah. No, I love that everything you said. Like, shout out to. Hopefully, you'll add like a chow package, like as an add-on. You got chow every single day. Or maybe cheesecake. If they fancy cheesecake, I like that you weren't getting high off your own supply. But I think that it's it's a great thing that you just said, because even with me with this channel, it's like me doing this actual kind of show on this channel has probably been in my writing or my books for maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And then one day I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do it. Even my first episode, like I do screw up a lot. I'm still learning as I go. But had I been like, oh, if I waited for this to be perfect, there's always whatever I've learned, Fiola, is that there's always gonna be a better mic, there's always gonna be a better camera, there's always gonna be better editing. Just start. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Everything's gonna snowball from there. I can't just commend you enough. Like you said, 10 10 things of what you wanted to do. And it's amazing to see that everything is going to go. And I'm pretty sure you're going to develop too. You're going to notice things. I believe like every carnival, you definitely have your takeaways, right? Okay,
Yeah,
this work, maybe this we could fine tune this a little bit, or maybe
of
we can look
course.
at this new hotel that's coming up here and build a relationship there. As we're coming up to the close of this amazing episode, which definitely have to come. Like, I feel like we should do it like during Carnival, like or after Carnival. Again,
Listen,
with
I
you.
just want us to have a pod where you came to Carnival and it's Thursday or something, and we're in Tobago, and we are literally sitting next to the pool, foot cocked up, drinking a cocktail, talking about how great Carnival was. I know that that is the podcast that after everyone hears that, they're coming.
Okay, done. That we're manifesting that shit. You know, we're gonna make that happen. Then I'm gonna definitely hold you to that, and we'll make the
2025, let me just write that
yep, 20.
down.
And you know what? Hey, I'll put this out there. I was born on Christmas Day, so 25 is a good number for me, you know? So
Oh, are you
it's
really?
yeah, Christmas Day
Do you get
88. So
do you get two presents or do you get one?
no, I get two presents. My parents always
Okay.
made it. I love my parents for that. They always but you know what? My wife rips me off though. Shout out to my wife. I love
Oh
her though, but she gets me one
no.
gift. But my
Right.
mom and dad, they and my sister do. They still definitely do spoil me
Okay,
with the
gotta
two
get the
gifts.
farm. Your
Yeah.
ex-wife, but it's okay. She contributes to your life in other ways.
Oh, she's the best. She's the
That's why
best.
I'm
She's
good.
you know, she's a big supporter of this. Is there a question that you wish that I asked you today, Fayola?
Is there a question I wish you asked me? Hmm, that's interesting. Um, I don't think so. But watch us finish this podcast, and as soon as we stop, I think of something.
All
What
right, well, there we
watch
go.
that happen.
Well, here's the thing. What I do, I always ask that question at the end, and I don't want my guest or well, my friend. I don't want my friend to answer it because I want to hook them to come back for another episode. So, if you do
Uh,
come up with it, then we'll definitely have that for there. So, Fayola, tell everybody how can they get a hold of you. This is time to promo. Give me all the website information. Give me everything.
okay, so guys, you've heard about Carnival. You love it. You want to come. I know. So you can find us on www.cometotheislands.co, or you can look for us at Come to the Islands on Instagram, on Facebook, even on LinkedIn. And this will have show notes, Ryan. Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
so I will provide Ryan with all of those links so you'll be easily one click away to see. There is a music video that was created by one of our really good artists and one of my friends here, Freedom Collective, Freetown Collective, sorry, that I think really shows somebody who has never seen Carnival what it feels like. And it also has some really nice snippets of beautiful places in Trinidad and Tobago as well. So I'll probably also shoot that over to Ryan so y'all can take a look at it. And thank you for listening. I hope that you feel like you learned a lot. And honestly, I think that we spoke about Carnival so much, which of course I always love, but I think we might not have gotten into a lot of our stuff. So if Ryan will have me and if y'all will let Ryan have me, I might come back.
No, 100%. That's definitely down there. So, this is the Logistics Monk Show where we aim to have amazing conversations and learn from people from various different backgrounds and understand where they came from, and where they're going in life. If you found value in this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this with a friend, a neighbor, or share this with your partner who's going to be coming to Carnival 2025 with you. Maybe Fayola might be able to squeeze in for 2024, but that's only if you message her on the day of this air date. So, with that being said, please catch us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and what is it? And Facebook as well. We'll hit it up on Instagram. So, as we always end our episodes just like this, Fayola, what is your message to the world?
My message to the world is find ways to find yourself and then express that thing.
Beautiful. All right, take care, everybody. See you next time.